like a dream come true. But if by chance you're here alone, could I have a moment before I go? 'Cause I've been by myself all night long, hoping you're someone I used to know. You look like a movie, you sound like a song. My God, this reminds me of when we were young. Let me photograph you in this light in case it is the last time that we might be exactly like we were before we realized we were sad to getting old. It made us restless. It was just like a movie. It was just like a song. I was so scared to face my fears, 'cause nobody told me that you'd be here. And I swear you moved over the seas, and that's what you said when you left me. You still look like a movie, you still sound like a song. My God, this reminds me of when we were young. Let me photograph you in this light in case it is the last time that we might be exactly like we were before we realized we were sad to getting old. It made us restless. It was just like a movie. It was just like a song. When we were young, when we were young, when we were young, when we were young. It's hard to admit that everything just takes me back to when you were there, to when you were there. A part of me keeps holding on, just in case it hasn't gone. I guess I still care. Do you still care? It was just like a movie. Oh, God, it was just like a movie. It was just like a song. When we were young. I'm talking loud, not saying much. I'm criticized, but all your bullets ricochet. You shoot me down, but I get up. I'm bulletproof, nothing to lose. Far away, ricochet. You'll take your aim. Far away, you shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium. You shoot me down, but I won't coming down, but it's you who have further to fall. Goes down and I'll say low. Raise your voice. Sticks and stones may break my bones. I'm talking loud, not saying much. I'm bulletproof, nothing to lose. Far away, far away. Ricochet, you take your aim. Far away, far away. Shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium. You shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium. I am titanium.
Hello sir, where are you sir?
Stone high, machine
Hello, what time?
guns.
Pukul berapa mula? Pukul berapa mula?
Stone high, it's bulletproof glass.
Hi guys. Hi.
Shoot me down, but I won't fall. I'm titanium. You shoot me down, but I won't fall. I'm titanium. You shoot me down, but I won't fall. You shoot me down, but
Belum start lagi.
you shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium.
Aisyah, என்ன பண்றீங்க?
I am titanium.
I'm just a step away, I'm just a breath away, losing my faith today. I am just a man, not superhuman. Someone save me from the hate. It's just another war, just another family torn. We're falling from our feet today. Just a step from the edge, just another day in the world we live. I need a hero. I need a hero. I need a hero to save my life. A hero will save me just in time. I've gotta fight today to live another day. Speaking my mind today. I've gotta make a stand, but I am just a man. My voice will be heard today. Just another war, just another family torn. It's just another kill. The countdown begins to destroy our side.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and welcome back to our bonus edition of Last Minute SPM Online Seminar Skor A, brought to you by our main sponsor, TAJ International College. Mengalami speaking. So, how are you guys today? So, I hope you guys are doing well. Okay, because tonight we will be having a session with our Sir Thailand that we imported all the way from SMK Indrapura, Johor. So any JB people in here, could you make some noise in the chat box? Hello? Anyone?
Yeah.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
Siapa suka subjek English?
Miss Intan.
Yeah.
Tonight we will.
Lovely.
We have to talk in English tonight, Miss Intan.
Teach me please. Okay, for information, Sir Aiman Hakim is our lecturer lah, TESOL lecturer. So
Yes, a young lecturer at this age.
young
Miss Intan is also
lecturer.
our lecturer in TAJ College.
So if you have any questions, you also can ask Sir Aiman.
Boleh lah, malam ni kita mingle-mingle sikit. Okay, we will be using Duolingo.
Aiman, can we just like
Alhamdulillah.
request them to open the video and maybe introduce themselves in English?
Okay, you guys could open your camera, don't be shy.
Turn on the camera please and introduce yourself. Come on guys.
So any new faces in here? Any first timer?
Any first timer tonight?
My hair is not really on point, miss.
How come? Me, Jenny Arif. Hello, Jenny Arif. So this is your first time? Can you just turn on the camera and introduce yourself?
Come on, don't be shy.
Saya lemah
Shy
dalam
is for cat.
AK.
Shy cat.
Don't worry, Terence. That's why we bring Mr. Thailand, okay, to help you guys.
Yep.
Encik Ahmad dah masuk ya? Hello, Sir A5. Are you
Hello.
there?
I don't have time to say.
Oh,
Hi.
hello,
Hi, Suraya.
sir.
Hello.
Our loyal fans, chief. Friends sangat.
Saya cari juga line bagi dapat.
Sir A5, where are you now? Are you at the kedai mamak or what?
Maybe he got disconnected.
Oh, you at the college ya? Sir Ahmad, Sir A5.
Hai Suraya.
Are you still in college?
It's okay,
Me?
he's lagging.
I'm outside. I'm in outside.
Okay.
Outside?
So, Miss
I'm
Intan.
outside.
Yes, yes. I'm still here.
Sebab nak settlekan esok.
Good luck for tomorrow for your team.
Yes. Don't worry, I will be there also.
Oh really, Aiman?
Sure.
You're going to college tomorrow?
Yes. Just to support our apprentice.
Ya. Apa yang penting kita nak teruskan.
It's
Siti
okay.
Fairuz, we cannot see your face.
So, Miss
Wanna see
Intan,
your face?
I just want to share
Okay,
something.
I have to find a nice stuff first. I don't have enough time
okay.
to search my.
We'll wait,
Wow.
alright?
It's okay. Just take
We'll
your
wait.
time.
Okay.
Okay. So, Miss Intan,
Yes.
I would say that English is my most favorite subject when I was in high school. Okay.
Okay.
But back then I was also a science stream student. Okay. But I dropped biology. So I took engineering drawing and engineering technology.
Okay.
But Alhamdulillah, for my SPM, I managed to score an A for my English.
I didn't get an A for English. So sad.
I mean, English is among the A that I got. Okay. Just don't ask about my science subject because for AdMath, okay, for AdMath I got an E. but I got an A for math. So I don't feel that bengong lah sangat macam.
Okay lah, not too bad,
Yalah,
right?
dia macam kalau AdMath you E and Math you A, so tak adalah rasa macam bengong sangat. I'm not that stupid, okay. So
Okay
after
lah, at least you can count kan?
so after SPM macam I usually went to my counselor to ask for macam advice on what macam I should pursue when for diploma degree or something like that. So macam I decided I want to run away from calculation. So I decided
To
to take
writing.
that. No, I decided to further my studies in English related field. So I did my foundation in TESOL, and I was also I did my degree also in Bachelor in Education TESOL. Okay, so maybe there are some of you guys who would love to maybe want to pursue your degree or diploma in field of education, by all means, okay, because ada tak sini yang teringin nak jadi English teacher, okay, or any or
I love
English
it. I
lecturer?
love it.
Okay,
Oh,
Siti
she
Fairuz is
love it.
ready. Okay, Siti Fairuz, you may
Okay,
introduce
Siti
yourself.
Fairuz.
Your name,
Yes.
where are you from?
Okay.
Okay,
First time?
my name is Siti Fairuz. No, this is not my first time.
The old timer, our legend.
I joined this from the first day. From the first day, TIC held this program.
Thank
Yes,
you for supporting
and
us.
I'm from SMK level besar, which is
Where is that? Which?
in Kedah, Kulim Kedah.
Oh, you're in
Dah,
Kulim.
Yes.
Kedah terbaik.
Dah.
Anyone
Yeah,
from Perlis? Anyone from
So-
Perlis?
So how did you know about our seminar, Siti Fairuz? Hello?
I found it. Oh really? I forgot about it. I found it where? Maybe in Telegram also, and then I'm trying. Oh no, I found it on Facebook, I think.
Oh, okay. She found our seminar on the Facebook.
You're always
So
on
did you
Facebook, is it?
And then I felt interested, so
I think yes, you should, because we brought all the experts in the field just to teach
Yes.
you guys, okay, just in this seminar. So
often.
don't.
I often. Yes.
Okay. So I guess
I
Puantina
love
is
to.
here. Yes, our CEO mentor is in the house,
Yes.
yo.
Tina
Could you say hi to
I love to
Puantina?
take also,
Okay,
but we must get an A, right? We can't get A minus, right?
so you are interested to be in education field, maybe to teach English or no?
Yes. I'm loving.
Okay. Okay, if you love doing English, okay, in TIC we have a diploma in TESOL program, okay? So what you will learn in TESOL is actually, we don't learn the language actually. So we actually learn on how to teach the language, okay? Because I was a TESOL student myself, I would say it is not an easy course, but it is enjoyable, trust me.
So can sir give me some tips how to get an A? You know, quite
I mean, like,
tough.
okay, to improve your English, okay, you will have to practice more using the language, okay? Okay, sebenarnya, cakap Melayu terus lah. Tak semestinya macam language is just a language. Macam, it is not an indicator to show your intelligence, okay? Tak semestinya you tak tahu, you tak pandai English, you tak pandai langsung. You bukan bengong kalau you tak tahu, tak pandai English sangat. Sedangkan macam even people in US, if you ask them to speak in Malay, boleh ke? So language is just a language. Dia bukan an indicator of your intelligence, okay? So it's okay. You could study more on that. But for now, just focus on your SPM first, okay? So if you have any inquiries regarding TESOL program, you could drop me any questions on my Instagram for a while, if you don't mind. Okay, wait. Okay. So if you have any inquiries regarding TESOL, you could DM me personally. So I will entertain you later.
Thank you, sir.
So right now we have Puan Tina, our CEO mentor in the house. Hello, Puan. So for every session, for our bonus edition, we will be having a 15-minute session with our CEO mentor. Okay. So you could maybe learn or be motivated from the talk. Okay. So maybe some of you guys are stressed. Ya, so dah last minute ni macam-macam dugaan kan. Macam rasa pressure sangat, rasa beban tu macam banyak on your shoulder.
Alright.
Over to you, Puan.
Thank you so much to Sir Aiman. Hi, how are you guys? Nampak ke saya?
Wait, let me pin
Aiman,
you.
can you show me? I already put my screen. Okay.
Okay.
Alright. So, how are you? Apa khabar semua? Semua dah makan? Everything? Fit?
Yep.
Dah makan.
Dah makan, Ibu.
Dah.
Okay.
Dah makan. Dah.
Dah full. Okay, so welcome to the rest to 15-minute sharing with saya, CEO mentor anda yang bakal share banyak-banyak tips kepada calon-calon SPM dan saya percaya tips-tips saya semalam pun banyak membantu dan hari ini saya akan lebih share kepada awak semua. Tetapi sebelum tu, remember the seminar is ongoing. Kita ada lagi 4. Today is the 5th subject. So kita ada 5 subjek lagi. So jangan lupa kena isi Google Form. Kalau tak isi Google Form, awak tak akan dapat sijil 1 dan awak tak dapat banyak sharing knowledge daripada kami selepas ini. Saya tak nampak Puan Tina pun air sebesar-besar ni. Okay, mungkin sekejap.
Nak saya stop.
Puan Tina kena stop sharing yang gambar ni ya. Baru nampak kita orang nampak gambar Puan Tina yang sebenar.
Wah, itu pun sebenar juga.
Nak yang real.
Oh real, maksudnya lifetime lah. Okay, tak apa. So sekarang ni, Puan tak ada banyak masa. Saya ada 15 minit bersama anda. So saya nak bagi tahu kepada anda beberapa tips, okay? Tips yang paling penting untuk awak ke hadapan. So actually I prepared something for you guys. Okay, let me see. Okay, so today is English, I am very sure. So, but I don't want to talk about English. I want to talk something other than English. I want to share about one topic which I think is very important. Okay, can food improve your exam performance? This is very important. Boleh tak makanan memperbaiki mutu tumpuan anda di dalam exam? Ramai orang dia kadang-kadang ambil mudah tentang makanan. Okay, mereka ingat okay tak payah makan. So kalau tak payah makan, maksudnya anda akan lebih you take lightly, you tak begitu ambil berat tentang pemakanan. Tetapi sebenarnya pemakanan ni penting. Sebab apa what they say is what you eat represent yourself. You see, so you have to remember that bila you nak masuk exam hall, there must be something that you have to also prepare, which is your food intake, pemakanan anda. So why is this very important? You know, yes, you are what you eat. That is the most important. So please remember that when you eat, you are actually trying to focus on your energy level. You are trying to get the concentration level and your mind level. So you cannot simply just makan sesuka hati. You have to pick the right things. You know, so I would like to share to you tip number 1 that very important for you to have from today onwards. Kalau tak buat. Okay? The first thing that you need to have is you must have a good breakfast. The best breakfast that you have ever eaten. Okay? You have to prepare yourself.
Breakfast like a king, kan Puan?
Breakfast like a king. Dulu saya take lightly on breakfast. I feel that alamak, I want to keep everything for lunch. That is actually very wrong. And I start to develop problems of digestion because sometimes kita ingatkan kita tak boleh nak, we have problems in the morning to go to the toilet, whatnot. But then actually, if you improve your breakfast early in the morning, you will improve everything. So start your breakfast as the best, as like what people say, like a king. So what you do is, I got a few information kat sini. That is, number one is you have to try and pick a good diet. What is the good diet? Try to have a slow release carb. You kena cari yang food that release carb yang paling slow. Okay, like what? Oats, normally
Roti whole meal.
cereal, whole meal. So dia punya release energy tu dia lambat. That is what we call slow release. Okay, and when you have carbohydrate, jangan lupa you need to have a good protein. So what kind of protein that you can ambil? Sebab you kena ingat, protein ni is a food. Is food for brain. Okay, your brain needs the food, my dear. You tak boleh nak abaikan pemakanan. You have to eat. And then the food that you pick, like proteins, normally like eggs, kan you nak buat scramble ke, you nak buat apa suka hati you lah. Okay, boil eggs ke, janji you makan protein. But if you don't like eggs, convert lah kepada susu ataupun yogurt, but you must take protein. So you have carbs, you have proteins, and you must have a good glass of juice ataupun vitamins. So take good fruits early in the morning. So this is number one that you have to remember, because apa yang you makan nanti, it's like a booster, a brain booster for you. So nanti bila you nak you masuk dalam exam, selain daripada you ingat the level of preparation in terms of food tu dia makin tinggi. You remember more, your memory. So that is my first tip, number one tip. Okay, best of the take the best breakfast that you can take. Kalau selama ni kata you tak nak ambil breakfast, not anymore. You have to change your habits. Okay, the second tips that I want to share with you is about plenty of water. Okay, we have to drink water, my dear. Sekarang ni zaman musim panas sangat. Okay, it's very heaty. And then I remember that there's a lot of implication lately sebab the heat. You know, at this moment, especially Malaysia, we are having this cyclone, something like that lah. Okay, that is affecting Malaysia punya climate. So what do we do? Okay, so we are lacking of water. What we call it dehydrated. Kita nak dehydrated in terms of level of fluid. Okay, so kita kena minum. We have to drink plenty of water. Okay, there is a research, a statistic says that if you bring water to your exam hall and you keep on drinking that water, you are more hydrated, kan? So when you are more hydrated, your performance are 5% better than yang tak minum air tu. Nampak tak? People dia tak minum air, dia rasa alah malas. No. Okay, you kena keep yourself hydrated, because now with the climate, 8 glass of water, it's not enough. 1.05 liter, it's not enough. You have to keep on hydrating yourself with water. So that is something that I got to know lately about plenty of water. Okay, my third tip, still about food, because today I nak cakap pasal food because something that is very close to people and people are taking for granted. And dia tak pay attention to what they eat. So they think that food is not important. So they think that they will score. Dia belajar je dah boleh dapat jawab exam. Padahal pemakanan juga boleh membantu you punya fokus dalam pembelajaran. Okay, apakah tip yang ketiga? This is interesting, very interesting, which is I got to know. Okay, ada satu kajian yang mengatakan bahawa kebanyakan remaja, teenagers, dia ada mengalami satu deficiency di dalam badan. Badan kita ni ada kita perlu banyak nutrien, vitamins yang mencukupi. Tetapi kalau kita tengok, kalau badan kita lemah, we are weak. you know, we are weak, there is certain nutrient that is actually deficient. So what is the nutrition? What is the nutrient? The nutrient is actually iron. Kita kurang iron. So adik-adik semua, you must take enough iron. You must take enough vitamins before you enter the examination hall. Actually, some people, they have this cliche saying that when you take vitamins, you will get fat. Or you take vitamins, you overeat. Semua tu karut marut. Okay? Don't ever believe all that stupid statement. We need to have good vitamin in order to produce a better performance. Likewise for your physical activities, also for your mental activities. So that's all from me to you. Okay? Remember, always make sure you have a good food intake. Jangan lupa breakfast is important in the morning. Kalau selepas ini anda tak makan, cuba ubah pattern itu. Hari ini juga, mulai daripada sekarang, awak tengok awak punya performance memory awak berbeza, attention focus awak berbeza, awak tengok cara awak jawab soalan sangat-sangat berbeza. So itu saja dari saya, Aiman. Thank you so much kepada mereka di luar dan saya harap share info tentang ini sebab kita ada banyak lagi subjek-subjek dan selalulah kita bersama-sama berkongsi manfaat kepada semua orang. Okay, have a good session with Mr. Thailand and I hope you enjoy my session today. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Okay, thank you to our
Thank you,
CEO mentor,
Puan.
Puan Tina Tajuddin. So before we start with our lesson today, I would like to ask a big why, okay? Okay, just listen. Why do you think English is important, okay? Could you state in the comment section below? Why do you think English is important?
Because it's a second language that we use.
Okay. More?
We can communicate to another person don't understand our Malay language.
If Malu nak cakap, it's okay. You could type in the comment section below. Yes, because it is easy to communicate with others. It is a lingua franca, okay? A language that is widely used in the world. Okay, global language, universal language. Yes, most of you are saying that English is an international language. Okay, let's think like this. English is important because English is the language of knowledge. Setuju tak saya cakap macam tu? English
Yes.
is the language of knowledge. Because sebab
Yes.
apa? Because most of the knowledge in this world are translated into English. Okay, so if you're going to pursue engineering, okay, for your degree ke apa nanti, all of the knowledge is in English. Okay, itu kalau macam Malaysian studies lain lah, tapi most of the knowledge in this world are translated in English. So nampak tak pentingnya English ni? Okay, English can help you communicate. Okay, so ingat je, kita belajar English ni sebab betapa pentingnya English ni, sebab English ni satu bahasa ilmu. Tanpa English ni macam kita susah nak mendalami ilmu lain. So just get better in your English, okay? So jam pun we are almost 8:30. So I hope our Sir Thailand is here right now.
Mr. Thailand is here.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Welcome back.
Welcome back to our bonus edition.
Hello,
This is
Mr.
the
Thailand.
second time.
Please unmute.
Hey, hi, hello. Yeah. could you
Hello,
hear me?
You
Yeah,
cannot
hello,
see your
hello.
Hello.
Wait, let me.
How are you, sir?
Can you see my face now?
Yeah.
I'm good. How are you?
Can, sir.
Hey, all of you.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Handsome lah cikgu.
Yang mana?
Macam heroin Mustan.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
guess we
hope
can start
everyone
now.
is ready.
Over
We're
to you,
going
sir.
to start anytime. So you
All
ready,
right.
Mr. Taylor?
Hello?
Yeah,
You're
I'm good. I'm good.
You're good to go?
Yes, I'm good to go.
All right. Okay. So students, I'm going to mute you all. So everything, anything you just type in chat box, okay? Right?
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Adios.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Mr.
Okay.
Taylor. All right. Okay. We are ready to go now. Okay. Over to you,
All right.
Mr. Tayalan. Have a great session, everyone.
Hey everyone, so good to see all of you again. It's my honor and privilege, yes. And today, my focus is on all the essays. Yeah, basically all the essays which are to be tested in the exam, both in paper 1 and paper 2. So it'll be a lot. I have written 6 essays for you. Okay, I wrote them myself based on the past year questions. So we are going to go in detail. Let's see how well it goes. All right. Okay. Now, first and foremost, how do you all feel at the moment? Do you feel good? Do you feel nervous? However you feel, yeah, you are scared. I understand you are in such a predicament. The pandemonium is quite chaotic. The situation is rather very bad in the sense that, everyone has to handle the pandemic in a different level, in a different manner. But your worry is ensconced around SPM. So I can understand that. I'm totally aware of that. So let's do our best. Okay. At any given time, our best is the best that we could come up with. So let's just focus on being the best that we can do. And I will try to help you through it. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my beloved students, I'm going to share screen. All right. So I'll stop my video and I'll share the screen so that you could be focused on the screen. All right. We would focus on essays. I'll try to throw in as much input as possible. And then let's see if we have time, then we can possibly have Q&A sessions. All right. Okay. All right. Can you all see?
Yes, I can see the screen.
All right. Okay.
I don't understand. Why?
Oh, that's my Siri talking. Okay. Now, essays of 1119 SPM 2020. Bear in mind that you are the last batch. Yeah. All right. Now, the focus of the lesson today, or the focus of the presentation, or the workshop, or the seminar, whatever you call it today, would be on these 5 areas, or five sections. Directed writing, and in directed writing, we'll be focusing on article, and then argumentative essay, descriptive essay, and then we have narrative essay, and lastly, novel. Okay. All right. Now, I will try to go as fast as possible. We'll try to discuss as much as possible, and I will try to give you as much input as possible. Okay. So for directed writing, we did discuss this. The time allocated is 35 minutes. Marking scheme, format 3 marks, content point 12, language 20. However, for article, it would differ, where the format would be 2 marks, content point 13, language 20. Okay. So the types of essays to be tested: formal letter, informal letter, speech or talk, article, and report. But I believe, based on the data, well, I'm not saying that this is definitely going to come, no, but I believe there is a higher chance of article being tested. So article it is. All right. So pre-writing prerequisites. Okay, what is needed before you write? Read the question carefully, identify the format, identify the keywords, identify your role as in who you are, identify your audience's role as to who your audience is or who your audiences are, and then analyze the content points. And lastly, the aspects to remember for language. All right, the aspects for to remember for language. You have ideas expressed. The ideas that are being expressed has to be mature, and well developed. Okay, language used is appropriate, expressive, and smooth flowing. Sentence structures are varied. All right. Now let's look at it. I hope you could see this the screen. Let's just focus on article. Article is down there. Okay. Let's just focus on article. For format points, ladies and gentlemen, as far as article is concerned, the marks would be typed for title and name of the writer. As long as you have the proper title and you have the name of the writer, you will get 2 points for the format. And then content points for all the content points. Remember this, as you write your content points must make sense. You can't simply write it, you can't simply write it for the sake of writing it and assume that you will be awarded marks. The idea behind that is, the development of your content point is, however simple it is, it has to make sense. Do you get it? It has to make sense. People should be able to understand what you've got to say. And then you have elaboration points, give details, explains, and explanations and suggestions. So this will be based on this will influence your language points as well. Okay. All right. Moving on. Now I have a sample question. I really have no idea how to make this vanish, but never mind. Give me a second. All right, now let's look at the sample question. Your school students have been reported to be indulging in a lot of crime-related activities outside of the school. This, in a way, has tarnished the reputation of your school. As the president of the Peer Guides Club, you have been tasked by your school principal to write an article on the causes of this phenomenon and possible suggestions to overcome them. The article is to be published in your school magazine. You may use the following notes to write your article. Now, if you look at the causes, the idea has to be, that's why you have to abide by this. Read the question carefully, identify the format, identify the keywords, identify your role, identify your audience's role, and then analyze the content points. Okay. Now, we have read the questions carefully, and then we have identified the format. It's going to be an article because it says write your article. And then the keywords would be causes of this phenomenon and possible suggestions to overcome them. So what phenomenon? Crime-related activities outside of the school. Okay. So students indulging in a lot of crime-related activities outside of the school. That is the phenomenon. and possible suggestions to overcome them. Now, what is your role? Who are you? You are the president of the Peer Guides Club. Okay, as the president of the Peer Guides Club, you see, that's your role. Now, who would be your audience or who would be your recipient? If you see, it says it is to be published in your school magazine. So whoever reads your school magazine, they are your audience or they are your recipient. And then you analyze the content points. So there are causes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, ways to overcome 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it will probably be another one lah. Basically, there will be 13 content points for article. Now, I'll give you a bit of an example as to how could you develop an essay for article. All right. Now, let's look at this example. Students' involvement in crime-related activities, causes and ways to overcome the phenomenon. That's the title, by your name. Okay, in this case, I've written my name. So that is how you deal with it. Last weekend, about 20 students of our school has been detained due to illegal drug trafficking outside of our school. Now, this is a very interesting way of getting the attention of the examiner by throwing in a very interesting story or a very interesting information. Okay, it was truly appalling to all of us because drug-related offense is a very serious allegation, and it is quite hard to believe that underage school students are involved in this activity. This incident has shed some serious light on the unbecoming of the matter. These crime-related activities are on a perpetual increase, and they have greatly affected the reputation of our school. Hence, it is necessary for us to get to the core of the matter. We need to know the reason of these crimes to germinate and spread so quickly. So here, this is the introduction based on an incident that happened in your school. Then we move on straight away to the content point. So as a good student, I would like to stress to you that you have one content point, one elaboration. One content point, one elaboration. So here you see, the first cause is the lack of attention and supervision. That's the content point. Parents these days are rather too attached to their work that they overlook their core responsibility to provide attention and supervision over their children. That's elaboration. The next cause is poor family constitution. That is content point. More often than not, those who commit these crime-related activities are generally from families which are broken, where they have multiple layers of complexities and issues. That is the elaboration. See, what I have done here is I have kept the point very direct so that the meaning is never in doubt. But in the elaboration, I have exhibited, I have shown my language proclivity. How good am I with language? The next cause is low self-esteem or low self-control, sorry. Teenagers these days are having a very poor control over themselves, that they allow willingly commit criminal activities without fear of any sort, or they are willingly allowed to commit criminal activities, or they allow willingly to commit criminal activities without fear of any sorts. Okay, there is an omission of two there. Okay, so this is an example. So you have a main point and an elaboration. Continue. The next cause is the wrong peers influence. So this talks about your influence as friends. One main point. As the saying, bird of the same feather flock together, many students who have similar rebellious attitude join hands in influencing each other to commit these activities. That's elaboration. Besides, mass media also plays a very strong role in influencing the students to commit crime-related activities. Another content point. The content that is being displayed is not proper or relevant to the students, and it instigates them to commit criminal acts. Furthermore, the advent of internet has a great impact on these crime-related activities. That is the main point. Students tend to have an access to all sorts of things online, which would smear their thoughts with many evil seeds, which would further develop into such activities. Moving on to the way to overcome. It is very important to overcome this issue as early as possible. It is better late than never. Hence, we need to be aware of the rightful steps to overcome this phenomenon. First and foremost, parents should play their role in showering their children with adequate amount of love and care. Parents should understand their responsibilities in catering to the intrinsic needs of their children. Along love and care, parents or guardians should also provide a close supervision. The parents should inspect and monitor the whereabouts of their children and keep them within their knowledge. So then you continue. I've not completed it for you. You could see how it is being continued. The next way to overcome is through religious teaching. After that, there are only a couple of points. So this is how you develop an essay for article. Remember, one main point, the main point is written very, very explicitly. Okay, it is written in a very explicitly clear manner. And then for elaboration, you can go into the details of explaining about it. All right, so this is for directed writing. So far, any questions? I will check your chat box. Okay, I will just read some random. So after every section, I will go through some of the questions. I think, sir, using good idioms and good elaboration. How do you do that? What are the tips to get writing like you? Okay, now there is no royal way to logarithm. If you want to write well, you need to be a good reader. Okay. However, in the whole essay, I have only used one idiom. So always remember, it is not the idiom that matters, it's how relevant and how aptly you fit in the particular idiom. That's all that matters, more than having to chip in an idiom. No. Okay. Sir, speak in Malay, please. Kenapa Sir tak letak penanda wacana? Okay. Cikgu explain, Sir explain. The next course is, itu penanda wacana. Besides, nampak tak? Besides, itu penanda wacana. Penanda wacana, idiom, iaitu peribahasa ke, simpulan bahasa ke, perkataan-perkataan yang bombastik ke, apa semua, hanya digunakan jika perlu. Kita menulis satu esei yang efektif, dan untuk menulis esei yang efektif, kita perlu menggunakan benda-benda seperti penanda wacana atau perkataan-perkataan bombastik and all that, so that you can get the points. Okay, so you need to be able to write a convincing piece of writing. Itu je matter. Okay, boleh tak? Boleh faham tak? I'm trying to balance between Malay and English, because some of you, I hope your messages, you could also read your messages. So how to use bombastic words in essay? Bombastic words are only used when it is necessary. See, what is bombastic to you is not bombastic to me. You understand or not? Okay, what is bombastic to you? It's not bombastic to me. what may seem to be a big word for you is probably not a big word for me. So bombastic itself, the idea of being bombastic itself is very subjective. Tetapi, how do you produce a good essay is through reading. That is the only thing, not through internet, nothing. Reading, read books, make it a religious point to read books, and you will see your writing to get better by leaps and bounds. Trust me. Okay, so we are done. I'm going to close the chat. We are going to focus further on the next section, which is continuous writing. So do not spam me with messages. I will only see when I see. Okay, all right. Argumentative essay. All right. Oh yeah, I hope I could hide this that way as well. No, I can't. Okay, some insights, some general insights. It is probably the hardest of these three types of continuous writing. It is entirely based on facts. It requires a holistic understanding of the task, analyze and deduce the details. Ideas have to be presented with maturity and should not be smeared with immature, irrelevant, and excessive expressions. Maksudnya, untuk karangan berbentuk argumentatif, karangan debat, dia macam contoh karangannya, style karangannya macam berdebat. Now, how do you go about doing it is you have to present it with maturity. Apa yang paling penting ialah idea yang kamu present itu adalah perlu sangat mature dan relevant. Okay, that's very important. Factual as well as argumentative essays can generally be on the basis of these two elements. Element number one, stating based on the following elements: reasons, causes, trigger factors, implications, consequences, repercussions, ways to overcome, solutions, remedy or remedial actions. And then the second one is stating facts based on the following elements: advantages, disadvantages. Now, this thing is really, really annoying. Okay, these essays can generally be questioned in three ways in SPM. The first one is a statement is given. It's a factual essay. Today, I'll be showing you two types. First one, the statement is given. You are to present your ideas in the form of evidence to support the idea that is already given in the statement. Okay, contohnya satu essay itu diberi macam if that's a statement, you have to just give your idea to support the statement. That's all. Okay. Jenis kedua ialah argumentative, di mana kamu perlu ambil satu stand. The statement would be requiring the candidate to make a stand by or against the idea given and substantiate your stand through your valid points. Then type 3, argumentative, compare and contrast. The statement would require you to compare both sides and give a general opinion, which would end in a reflective or a personal conclusion, which does not need to be unequivocal. That means you do not need to make a categorical stand. You do not need to make a categorical stand saying that, yes, I'm unequivocally by this side. No, it can be of both sides. It can be a bit of a both sides. Okay. Steps to do when attempting such questions, as in argumentative essays: read the questions carefully, analyze the requirements of the questions. When we talk about the requirement of the question, it is the parameter. Remember, the parameter of the question. Decide if you need to take a stand. List out your content points. Develop your essay well. Okay. All right. Now, this one we did see the other day. There are 5 different types. Okay. Statements, questions, quotes, proverbs, statistics, news, short story. Link to the task without revealing the task. And then you move on to the introduction of the task. This is just for the introduction. You see, you look at the hook. There are so many different types of hooks that you can possibly use. Okay, there are so many different types of hooks that you could possibly use. You need to choose the most appropriate, most relevant, and something that you know the most. Okay, if you know a statement, you think if a statement is the best, then go with it. Question or quotes or proofs or statistics or whatever. Okay, and then the next one is linked to the task without revealing the task. And then further on, move on to introducing the task. I'll give you an example. Now let's look at this. Should parents be blamed for the unbecoming of the present teenagers? Discuss. Let's look at it. Now, the hook would be a short story. A couple of years ago, our nation was held in a gruesome fit of fear and shocked upon the news of a teenager murdering her own brother with her boyfriend. This incident still sends shiver down our spines, and to imagine such a dreadful incident to have happened in our country is truly shuddering. Such incidents do send, see, this is just the story. Now, here you link the story to the task without introducing the task yet. Such incidents do send a serious signal to all of us. Everyone should take the outrageous hint and get to the depths of the matter in order to identify the roots and nip them in the bud. So, moving on to the addressing of the task. What could be the primary reason behind this phenomenon? Should the present parent shoulder the blame entirely, or there are other substantial factors as well? Surely, the inception of the problem starts with the parents. So you'll start the blame with the parents, then you list out the blames for the parents, and then eventually you move on to other factors, because you are supposed to discuss in the question. Okay, moving on. Development of paragraphs for argumentative essay. I really hope that you are, I do not know whether this particular lesson is being recorded, but you can always screenshot it of some of the methods that I'm yet to share with you. For the development of the paragraphs for argumentative essays or any fact-based essays, you can use this method. I call this method the mere method. Okay, it's an innovation that I created. It's called the mere methods for argumentative essay. Okay, what is mere method? Mere method has 4 elements: M for main point, E for elaboration, another E for example, and then R for reiteration of the main point. Okay, so M for the main point is stated clearly and with precision. So tak payah tulis panjang lebar. Bila kamu beri isi utama, pastikan isi itu ditulis dengan jelas. Isi itu dituliskan dengan precision supaya boleh difahami. And then you move on to elaboration. This is where you really explain and go into the depths of analyzing the main point. Okay, so here the main idea is elaborated well. Students are to widely exhibit their language proficiency through a detailed expression. Okay, moving on to examples. So for examples, the main idea is developed with an explicit example which is clear. Tolong pahamkan term ni ya. Explicit example which is clear, direct, specific, and in-depth. In-depth. Okay. For that, to show example, you can use the following phrases. For an example, to exemplify, to illustrate, for an instance, to all that. Moving on to the reiteration of main point. Why do you reiterate the main point? There are several reasons. First and foremost, you need to show the examiner that you are on the right track. So when you reiterate the main point, you come back to the main idea. So you kembali pada landasan yang betul. Number 2 is to always keep you focused on what you are supposed to do instead of wandering too far. Okay. So the main point is reiterated so that the candidate is able to show that he or she is intact with the main idea and has not deviated. So you can use words such as hence, thus, therefore, so. Okay, let's move on. Here, we are going to see a new sample. Is tuition necessary? Just look at the introduction. As time develops into advancement, the need to keep oneself well informed is pivotal. These days, the pressure to be a notch above the rest is felt at a very tender age. Although on the surface, the matter seems cruel and taxing, it is often taken with a pinch of salt by the present generation. However, the need to arm oneself with the best of information in any subjects based on personal demands and expectations has become the key necessity of the students these days. Hence, tuition has become a very essential part of students' lives. There is a constant debate on the idea, is tuition necessary? And this is ongoing because there is a fair share of both sides to this argument. There are both advantages and disadvantages in the idea of tuition as a whole. Now, students, I would like to tell you, this is for those who aspire to get A+. Okay, those who aspire to get A+ or A's, I'm telling you, always remember, for you to produce an A+ worth essay, I would suggest that 10% of your essay can be of merit. Okay, can be of merit. So that will be very interesting. All right. Now, let's move on. Look at this. This is the first point. Is tuition necessary? That's the idea. Now look at the main point. If you look at the main point, you look at the elaboration, you look at the example, and you look at the reiteration of the main idea, you would get a clear picture as to how the composition of essay is. I'm not going into all the paragraphs, although I have prepared for you all the paragraphs. I'm only going to go through a few paragraphs, and then I'll give you time to read by yourself. Now, look at the first point. The first point is tuition is needed to cater to the personal needs and necessities of the student. So just put the main point as it is. Okay. And then you move on. Students are generally varied in their abilities and the capacity of capturing information delivered. From this point of view, a classroom concept might not be too relevant because the students might need a personal attention from the expert. An expert can be hired and paid to delve into the weak areas of the student and tackle them. If you look at that, there are no examples. There is absolutely no examples. They're all elaboration. They elaborate on the main point. And then we move on to the example, which is explicit, clear, detailed, and specific. Now, for example, if a student is particularly poor in additional mathematics, the student can just get a tutor to teach on a particular topic and enhance his or her knowledge in it. So reiteration of the main idea. So it is clear that tuition is essential to address and sort out the personal needs of the students. So that's how you develop a paragraph using mere method. Now we're going to look at another advantage of tuition. That one, I'll give you 2 minutes. You quietly read. Okay, 2 minutes, you can read yourself.
Mr. Thailand?
Yeah.
Okay, for your information, our session is recorded, so they can always watch on Facebook.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
and if it's okay if we can share this slide to our students, is it okay?
You mean you want me to send you the
This-
presentation?
Yeah, because some
Yes.
students request these slides
Most
for their
definitely.
revision. Okay, all right.
Definitely.
Okay,
I'm yeah.
yeah,
Anyway,
I'll
this is
share
the last year, so I'm here to share. No worries.
Okay, all right.
All
So I'll share this slide to Telegram channel, okay, students?
Yeah.
So you can make revision.
Do I share it now or after the slot today?
After the slot, it's okay.
All right. Yes.
So they can focus on the screen.
All right. Yeah. Now I would want you to look at the main idea, elaboration, example, and the reiteration of the main idea as to how it has been written. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. All right.
Okay. So actually, for tonight, you are giving few samples of essay, right?
Yep.
So they have some ideas what to write, what is actually the framework, what is the objective,
And what are the methods to handle different types of essays? Because you can't have one method to answer all the essays. Yes.
Okay. So is everyone okay? Can you type on chat box? Mr. Thailand is actually giving you the points, the methods, how to write the essay, who is our target audience, what's the objectives. Okay. All right.
A lot of okays.
Glad that you are okay. Glad that you feel better now, because they're actually tak understand sangat like if you use only English, so maybe you can mix a bit. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. From Juliza, I want tips on narrative essay.
Yep, we are going to go one by one.
Okay, all right. So stay tuned. Okay.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Thailand. So you may continue now. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So this is for the second point. So if you look at the main point, tuition provides the avenue for the students to decide on whom they choose to learn from in regards with what they want to learn. So this one, if you look at this, the main point where students have the idea, students have the rights to decide as to whom they want to learn and what they want to learn. Okay. So for the elaboration, you can get into the details. So we are still harping on the benefits of tuition. Now, let's look at the other side. Okay, until now, thirdly, it gives the alternative for the teachers to earn more money, still benefit. Now, here, we would change. So, the penanda wacana macam tadi itu, it will also change. See, however, walau bagaimanapun, tuition tends to give a sense of dependency of the students on their tuition teachers. Maksudnya, di sini, we are begging to differ. We are giving another idea. We are giving another point. So for that, we use however. So here, I would like to just stress that you only use what is needed. There is no compulsion that you have to start every single idea with a penanda wacana. No, it doesn't work that way. Nor do we have to have a bombastic word in all the paragraphs. Itu pun salah. Tak ada. No such thing. Okay. The ultimate rule in the race of acing in education is entirely based on the student's effort and motivation to succeed. However, the burden seems to be shifted on the tutor's shoulders as if they are able to do wonders and produce A's instantaneously without much effort from the students. To exemplify, if a child with poor results in a particular subject is sent to a tutor, The parents would expect a miracle to happen in the next exam, and at times, when things go otherwise, they are dejected and get onto the bandwagon of the blaming game. So tuition makes the students to be less competitive, or in other words, less responsible. Now, I'm going to share the slides with you. So I will skip some slides. You can go into the details when you have the slides. But what I would tell you is, please make use of them. Make use of this method. Take your time to study, and you will see your language to improve. All the big words, or the so-called bombastic, grandiloquent words that you see in here, take them down. Try to memorize the words and the contextual meanings, and try to use them in your essays. Definitely, you would be able to write an impressive piece of writing. Now, let's look at conclusion. To conclude, tengok saya tak gunakan in a nutshell. To conclude, it is indeed the rights of every student to have the access towards education in the best way they could. However, the students will have to make the right and sound discretion in deciding how much should they invest in the tuition. Neither the schooling constitution or the tutor would be able to perform miracle to produce all A's. Besides, all A's will not ensure the holistic development of any individuals. Hence, tuition may be needed in the right proportion and treated with the right attitude. Now, if you look here, I have not made a categorical. I have not made an unequivocal stand. I'm just on the fence, because the question has asked me to discuss. Okay. Any questions before we move on to factual?
Any questions, you may write on the chat box.
Okay. Sir, is it true if you exceed the word limit, the exam markers will only read until the word limit, so that the exceeded words will not be left unchecked? That is only for your summary. You can write as long as you want. So there is no rules like that. Arvind Ganesh, no sir, all is good. Oh, thank you. Isi mature tu macam mana sir? Isi mature tu bang, kita bila kita itulah masalah argumentatif, sebab cerita apa-apa yang kita fikir penanda tak tahu. Tapi kalau cerita kadang-kadang berbentuk argumentatif, semuanya berdasarkan facts, fakta. So fakta tidak boleh dimanipulasi. Benda yang awak tahu sebagai fakta juga akan diketahui sebagai fakta oleh pemeriksa. So fakta tu tak boleh compromise, tak ada kompromi. Fakta tu standard. Okay, so bila fakta tu tak boleh compromise, benda tu kena sama dan kena pada same wavelength, dan perlu ada maturity fakta itu. Kamu tak boleh beri unsur yang idea yang sangat childish. Okay. So for conclusion, can copy back to our questions. Normally we copy back the questions. That too, if we are not sure, or that too, if you have no idea, we do it for introduction, not for conclusion. Short story tu mesti betul ke sir? Kalau you nak tulis short story yang tak betul pun boleh, tapi pastikan benda tu boleh dipercayai lah. Jangan you mengarut pula. Kalau mengarut sangat macam cerita dongeng, tak boleh lah kalau nak guna dalam karangan berbentuk fakta. Any other point? Any other questions?
Sir, argument essay must be having advantages and disadvantages.
Not necessarily. I've given you the example right just now. We have seen the example. It's either advantages or disadvantages, or just benefits, or just the negative impacts, or sometimes it is the causes, implications, ways to overcome. So it is not necessarily advantages and disadvantages. Advantages and disadvantages is just one one part of argumentative essay. The extension of argumentative essay is quite wide. Okay, any other questions?
Okay, let's see.
No. All right. Let's move on to factual.
Okay.
All right. Ini cerita yang comparably lebih simple lah. Cikgu tulis cerita ni, karangan ini dengan bentuk yang lagi simple supaya semua boleh faham. Tadi itu untuk macam high achiever sikit. Yang ni it's quite simple. See, body of content, planning of the essay, introduction, definition and link, and then the task. Content point number 1, causes. Content point number 2, causes. Content point number 3, repercussions. Repercussions maksudnya kesan. Okay. Content points number 4, ways to overcome atau langkah-langkah mengatasi. Content points number 5, ways to overcome again, and then we come to conclusion. Now, let's look at the introduction. Animals are humans' best friend. 5 words. From the beginning, animals have helped human. 7 words. Human, on the other hand, has taken a complete control over animals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 words. So 3 sentences, error-free, makes 1 patch. So this is what I was telling you. I have always been telling you about smart writing. It has to be 3 sentences in 1 string without any grammar errors. Okay. Now, if you look at the example, for example, animals are used as food, clothes, transportation, and entertainment. However, these days, animals are abused. Animals are physically and emotionally hurt. This abuse is not good and very unfair for them. Very simple words, very simple sentences, very short sentences, very simple ideas, but error-free. This is what we want. Okay. Oh. Okay. All right. Now let's see. I'll drag this down. Okay. There are a few reasons as to why animals are abused. Firstly, animals are abused because they are seen as an object to release their stress. Main point. Many people go through stress lately. They do not know how to relieve their stress. So they take it on animals, not children. That's a mistake there. So they take it on animals. Until then, it is elaboration. For example, if one gets stressed, he kicks or punches the pet he rears. Example, so animals are used to take on human stress. That is reiteration of main idea. Do you get it? Second paragraph works the same. Third paragraph will be for the repercussions. Now let's look at the 4th one. To curb this problem, ways to overcome. To curb this problem, we need to first use the rule of law. Okay, langkah-langkah mengatasi, first point. Okay, that's the first point. Use the rule of law. Main point. We need to take serious actions against those who carry out such cruelty. We need to punish such perpetrators severely according to their acts. Elaboration, until then elaboration. After that, example. For example, those who are reported to have abused animals must be brought to the face of justice. They have to face the hearing in the court. So this is example. And then move on. So the first action has to be the reinforcement of law. Again, this is the reiteration of the main idea, main point. That is how it works. That is exactly how it would work. Now, this is all for argumentative and factual. Any questions? Any questions? There has been some discussion.
Any question, guys? I think they are excited for narrative AC.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. So shall I go to narrative first and then come back to descriptive, since you're excited about narrative? Or shall I go with the order? What do you think, Intan?
I think just go in order.
No, we'll go with the order. Huh?
Okay.
Okay, because sometimes if we focus so much on, we put our hopes so much on narrative, suddenly there were years where the questions for the narrative would talk about things that we do not know. For example, life of a fisherman. There was once a year, life of a fisherman who fishes in the sea. Students couldn't answer. Those who were waiting for narrative essay could not answer because they do not know how a life of a fisherman who fishes in the sea is. So that would be a bit of a problem. So always keep your mind open. Okay, so whatever that you know the most, you answer. Okay, descriptive essay, its place, people, event. Okay, there are basically these three. Description of event or scene, it has a tone of narrative essay because it's describing an event. However, the focus is more on the detailing of the scene more than the storyline, and has to be able to walk the target reader through the scene. Okay, now guidelines. Have a clear image or vision of the scene or event. Description is lively and interesting. Details are stated vividly. Describe the activities involved in the scene in order. Capture the mood of the scene, or for example, the noise, lights, movement, colors. Describe the effect of the scene on you. Ensure the vocabulary is varied and apt. Now, description of a place, the detail of the nature of the place, the significance is highlighted, the scenery and surrounding is described in the past, in the present, and in the possible future. Guidelines give a proper, catchy introduction. Physical description has to be in detail. Describe the surrounding as to what do you see and hear, describe them. Include your feelings and attachment. So description of a person or people, furnish enough details. What is known to you has to be known to the target reader. So apa yang kamu tahu perlu diketahui oleh pembaca juga. That is a successful essay. Impress the target reader with your point of view, strong enough to convince your judgment on the individual you are talking about. So, bila kamu tulis pasal seseorang, kepercayaan kamu atau apa yang kamu rasa, pandangan kamu, persepsi kamu terhadap seseorang itu perlu sampai pada pemeriksa. Okay? All right. Now, guidelines, be clear of whom you are describing. Make your description personal and add much of your connection or attachment more than general sweeping statements which are rather cliched. Highlight on the areas that make the individual to stand out. End with a personal note. Now, do's, what do you do? Have a good grasp, knowledge. Describe the activities related. Add your personal view, opinion, and feelings. Highlight what sets the choice you made unique. End with a personal note. Tak ada personal note, you would not be able to connect with the examiner. Don'ts, don't give a poor description. Don't leave out personal qualities, values, or significance. Don't fail to relate to you on a personal note, and do not end abruptly. Okay, now before going into the sample, I'm going to look through your questions. Any questions?
Mr. Thailand, one question from Salsabila. What is the difference between narrative essay and descriptive essay?
Very good question. The difference, the significant difference between narrative essay dan descriptive essay ialah narrative essay ialah cerita. Fokusnya pada cerita. Manakala descriptive essay fokusnya adalah pada deskripsi, huraian. Contohnya okay, pasar malam. A night out in pasar malam. Kalau saya tulis daripada persepsi naratif, saya akan tulis apa yang saya buat. Kenapa saya pergi pasar malam? Apa perasaan saya bila saya pergi pasar malam tu? Dekat pasar malam tu saya buat apa? Saya tengok siapa? Apa yang saya beli? Apa yang interesting berlaku? Itu adalah dari segi naratif. Tapi kalau dari segi deskriptif, how was the pasar malam? Who were there? Why was I going? And how did I like the environment? Which are the places did I go? How colorful was the place? Who were the people? And all this. So descriptive would hinge more on the description of the surrounding, whereas narrative focuses more on the storyline. Yang mana lagi senang, narrative ke deskriptif? Dia depend pada candidate yang jawab tu. Dia depend pada ada yang kadang-kadang suka narrative. Narrative selalu guna past tense ke teacher. Narrative tolong gunakan past tense sahaja. Kamu boleh gunakan present tense kalau kamu ialah seorang penulis yang sangat bagus. Macam the great macam Salman Rushdie, macam Agatha Christie. If you are talking about writers like that, okay, or the guy who wrote It, oh my goodness, it's about 1,000 odd pages, but you can finish reading it in a couple of days. So always write in past tense. Past tense is the easiest. Stephen King, yes. Oh, I'm so glad there are Stephen King's. I've read most of his books. You should read. He will write it in the 1,000, 2,000 pages. He will write in the present tense, and he will convince you so much. So that is for great writers. I would rather suggest you to stick with the past tense. Yeah, my favorite author too. Sidney Sheldon is a bit childish, isn't it? Okay. Let's move on. Example yang cikgu nak bagi hari ini ialah tentang a person that I admire. Let's see. Cikgu dah pesankan untuk introduction. Kalau kita tulis pasal sesuatu yang kita suka, tempat ke, sesiapa individual ke, jangan mulakan terus dengan everyone has a favorite person. Everyone has a favorite place to go. I too have a favorite person. That is a very wrong way to start. Don't start an introduction like that. Look at how I have started. I'm going to share with you an example. Just look at this. It was just another bright, brilliant day in the Swat Valley. The marsh was as murky as it has always been. A group of brave girls had assimilated the condition just too long that they did not anticipate any odd probability of the horror that they were yet to face. Discussing on the physics papers that they were going to sit for the next day, these girls were well on their way in a truck, which transported them to their school. Suddenly, the truck halted abruptly, as if someone was stopping it abrasively. Which one of you is Malala? Speak up or I will shoot all of you. A harsh voice vociferated from one of the masked gunmen who stopped the truck. The brave 16 years old Malala said, I am. Without slightest deliberation or reluctance, the gunman held the pistol right on her temple, shooting her point blank, sending a bullet breaking open her skull, diving down amidst her cranial nerves, down the lobe of a collarbone. What happened thereof is history, and the voice that still sends waves of revolutionary revivals on girls' education advocacy began on that day. The voice has impacted me to a great extent, and it is the voice of the person that I admire the most, Malala Yousafzai, the youngest Nobel Peace Prize winner. Okay. Nampak tak introduction cikgu bagi macam mana? Cikgu introduce orang tu somewhere in the end of the second paragraph. But if you were to write like this will create a good, this will garner the interest of the examiner. So yang memeriksa tu akan rasa sangat impressed, because this is a very unique way of beginning. Don't bother about the language. The language that I have written here, for me, it is simple. For you, it may not be simple. Forget about that. Forget about that. But focus on the style. I just started with a story that is relating to the person that I admire the most. So this way, if you start writing like this, the interest is aroused. Okay. So far, any questions?
Yeah, there are questions from, okay, let me read. Wait a minute. If narrative essay, can we create the story not based from our experience or?
Yes, narrative essay is entirely yours. You can write whatever. As long as that's within the parameter, it's fine.
Actually, they are asking tips to write introduction, maybe in a simpler way or.
Okay. Exactly my point. The introduction here may not seem simple because of the language, betul tak? Mungkin introduction ni rasa a bit grandiloquent because the language is a bit of a higher end. Don't bother the language. Look at the style. Kalau you nak tulis tentang seseorang yang you suka, tulis satu story atau satu incident yang related to the person in a simple way, in a very simple way. Then that would give you the idea of writing a better essay. Okay. All right. Okay. The completion of the essay you can read yourself. You see, after that, here in this paragraph, we will look at the person, who she is, Malala Yousafzai. Here in this paragraph, you can see her qualities. In the following paragraph, you will look at her achievements. Okay. And then next paragraph here, you will look at what relates to you. And in the conclusion, you will end with a personal note. This is a very good sample, which you can take as an example. So this is how, and you develop descriptive essay is all about using WH questions. Okay, so you develop the content point by using WH questions. Okay, so since we are running out of time, I would want to move on to narrative, and then we have also a novel to focus on. So since I'm giving you this slide, you will be able to have it. So you can have it later. Okay. So I'm moving on to the next slide. Before going into narrative writing, any questions? Which is easier to get marks? Narrative essay or factual essay? I would say, my personal opinion, narrative.
Mr. Thailand, from Caroline C. Right, can I describe how I met that person for my introduction?
Yep, definitely. That's an event. That is an incident, and that is exactly how I want you to start. Because that is your personal approach. So that is very attractive, that is very catchy, and the interest of the readers would be aroused. Yes, there'll be a smart way to write.
Okay.
Okay, ada lagi soalan? In descriptive, can we write the essay in the past tense? Depending on what you describe. If you were to describe a celebration that you have attended, yes, past tense. If you want to describe a person, then present tense.
Okay, from
Can I
Kia.
start an essay with a dialogue? Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe one question from Kia. Can we write the essay as the setting time or the setting place is in another world? Does it?
If it is a story, yes. If it is a narrative essay, yes. Only if it is within the parameter. If it is going to write about someone you know who became successful due to the effort that they have made, then if you want to talk about outer space, it doesn't make sense now. It should stay within the confinement of the question. It should stay within the parameter that's set. Dia kan dah bagi parameter kan, it should be within that. Okay.
Okay.
Should we write as the first person or third person in narrative? Again, depending on the question. Okay. All right. Now,
one last question from Iman Chuhada. Maybe she came a little bit late. So can you explain again what's the difference between narrative and descriptive essay? Once again.
Narrative essay focuses on the storyline, while descriptive essay focuses on the description and the detailing of the event or the person. So descriptive is on the details, narrative is on the story. The importance for narrative is in the story, the importance of descriptive is in the detailing and the explanation. Okay? All right. Is that okay, Intan? Can I move on?
Maybe we can move on. Yeah, move on to the next chapter.
Okay. Narrative essay, it's primarily based on imagination. Therefore, it requires a thorough creativity. It has to be entirely original. The writer has the freedom to influence the target reader with his or personal perspectives on the narration. Okay. As we were talking about the book, Stephen King just now, we all know that there is no clown out there who would kill us. But if you read the story, if you could read the story Eater, I'll give you a challenge after SPM. If you have time, try to read the novel and you will feel the fear engulfing you as you read. That's how efficient the writer is. He would convince you as same normal human being that a clown can be dangerous. A clown is deadly and a clown is as scary as ghost. That is the success of the writer. The same thing applies here. You as the writer or you as the storyteller, you as the narrator must be able to create a narrative writing which can influence the target reader. Now, advantages. It is entirely in the personal perspective of the writer. Logic and rationale are decided by the writer. It is like opinion over facts. Okay, it's your opinion that matters more than fact. Individual identity, style, imagination, personal interpretation, and thought would develop the story, whether it is convincing or not. So, pandangan awak, persepsi awak, image awak, apa yang awak fikir, apa yang awak kongsi dalam hati awak, semua itu adalah sangat penting untuk menulis satu cerita yang sangat efisien. Expectation. Interest is aroused and sustained throughout the essay. Language is entirely accurate. Sentence structure is varied. Vocabulary is wide and used aptly. Topic is addressed with consistent relevance. Okay, that is the expectation. Now, pre-writing prerequisites. What you need to do prior to writing the essay. Now, read the question carefully. Identify and underline the parameters or the keywords. Identify your role or position. Who are you in writing the essay? Are you someone, are you writing about yourself? Are you someone who witnessed something? Or are you, who are you? Why are you writing the story and not anyone else? And then brainstorm the main story. Break the idea or the story to 7 fair sequences. This is very, very important. We will go into the detail. I'll explain as to how we go about doing it. Okay, later. And then break the idea into the 7 fair sequences, and then you develop your idea thereon. All right. Now, development of the ideas. Think of a plot. Think of a plot. Plan the plot. Plan as to how do you want to develop it. Okay, and then write your plot in 7 sequences. Sebab kita nak tulis pun 7 perenggan kan. So 7 perenggan tu 7 sequence lah. Sebab untuk karangan cerita dia tak ada content point. Okay, dia tak ada content point. So content point digantikan dengan sequence of events. So when this sequence of events, these are very important because they would serve as the paragraphs for you to develop. So one story, 7 sequences. Okay, not 7 stories, one main story which is broken into 7 sequences. Okay, all right. Okay, now add the following to aggrandize your essay: dialogues, expressive statements, quotes, idioms and proverbs, and only needed and are used aptly. Okay, I'll show you how do we go about sequencing. Can you all see?
Not yet. Are you opening some new documents?
Yeah, so I have to go through a new share, is it?
No, I didn't see any document. Just the slide.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Can you see now?
Okay, yes.
Okay, so you have the main story, and then it's broken into sequence 1, followed by sequence 2, sequence 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. So okay, so it goes from here to here, here to here, and it revolves that way. That's how you sequence it. Okay, now I'm going to show you an example of a horror story. The language may be of a higher end lah. Okay, so in that particular story, we will see how the sequence are being broken. Okay. Now, any questions as of yet before we move on to the example?
Okay, Mr. Thailand, one question from Facebook. For your information, we are actually live on Facebook too. All right. So one question from Lim Zenji. Any specific topics that we should avoid when we write our story for narrative essay? Any advice?
Anything that's sensitive, anything that's sensitive, anything that's provocative. You see, we can think of so many things. We can be very opinionated. We may have a lot of opinion, but anything that judges people, okay, anything that can instigate, that can provoke, that can upset anyone, it's better to avoid those. Religious sensitivity, racial sensitivity, sexual sensitivity, all this avoid. Avoid touching all those areas, because every individual, they will have a personal opinion, isn't it? They will have personal views. So we would not want to get, rub the wrong ends. Okay, that's not for us to do. Let us not gamble our exam paper for all those. So keep your essays in a safe zone.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
Any other question, guys? So do you think that narrative essay is easier than the rest? I don't know. Because they're looking forward for narrative
For me,
essay.
right?
I don't know why.
For me, I basically I like to write a lot. So narrative writing gives me the space to write. But I wouldn't particularly, or I wouldn't necessarily say that it's easy. No, it is not. It is not easy. I wouldn't give a sweeping statement saying that it's easy. No. At the end of the day, if you have a good language proficiency, you would be able to write anything and everything. Okay. So it's not so much about which is easier than the other. It depends on the individual and their writing style.
Yeah, because some people, they have like very high imagination, right?
Very good.
Yeah.
While some people cannot write stories.
So it depends on what is your writing style.
I have had students who can't write stories at all. But if they were to write argumentative essays, they can easily get an A. All right.
One question from Julisa. She needs more clarification on the sequence part. I don't understand the sequence part from the document, that there are 7 sequences, right? So can you explain?
For example, I'm going to write, okay, this is a story. The story that we are yet to see. This story is about a village. It's about a village. This village is haunted. However, the haunting of the village was things in the past. In the past, the village has been a home for a very scary ritual. So now the village is fine. People are living in the village. Suddenly, 2 people outside, 2 outsiders are coming into the village. They came into the village. This is a real story, based on a real story, by the way. 2 people came into the village with the idea of reviving the ancient evil. With the idea of reviving the ancient evil. And they act like normal people. They go into the village and they find the temple and they try to provoke the evil there by sacrificing human. And then in the end, the person whom they sacrificed also died. And these 2 people who came there to do the blood ritual also dies. And then the evil was released. Now let's assume that this is the story. In the first paragraph, we'll talk about the let's assume whatever I told just now is the story, is the main story. How do we break it into 7 sequence? Paragraph number 1, we talk about the village and the secret. Paragraph number 2, we talk about how the villages are now. Paragraph number 3, we talk about these two people coming into the village and lying to them. Paragraph number 4, we talk about how the two people got into the temple and find out the rituals. Paragraph number 5, we talk about how the ritual started, how the sacrifice was done. Paragraph number 6, we talk about what happened after the ritual, how everyone died. Paragraph number 7, what happened in the end, what happened to the village, what happened to the two people. That's all. So it's one story, you break it into 7 sequences. Okay? Or I will give you another example. I'll give you another easier example. Let's assume a boy who came from a very poor background, but the boy was offered a help by the teacher. He accepted the help from the teacher and he became very successful in the end. Let's take that example. So first paragraph, that's the main story. First paragraph, the background of the boy. Second paragraph, the behavior of the boy in school. Third paragraph, the teacher's observation. Fourth paragraph, the teacher offering him to stay with him and study until SPM. Fifth paragraph, the boy accepting the offer and studying well with the family support and the teacher's support. Paragraph number 6, the boy got a very good result and he secured a scholarship. He went abroad. Paragraph number 7, he was successful. He became a very rich person. He became a very educated person and he helps other people and he's very grateful to the teacher. Do you understand? One story, break it into 7 sequences. And each sequence will be developed into a paragraph. Is that clear, Intan?
Yes, yes. Are you clear, students? 7 sequences means 7 paragraphs for the story development. Am I right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Mr. Daniel is giving examples only. Okay. No slide, no slide, yeah. No, they are actually asking where are the slides, but it's actually you are only giving.
I'm just giving you examples.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of random examples. I'm giving you examples.
Only some random example, okay?
Contoh sahaja.
Since Julia was asking just now.
See, there's a very brilliant person here. Sir, narrative is about point of view of the writer, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Narrative basically for some people with very high imagination.
Yes. High imagination. By the same time, you are able to write everything within the given time.
Yeah. You need to think.
Sir, may I ask?
Like.
Okay. Yeah, this thing. Sir, may I ask if I like to write a story when exam, one of the word in the question I don't understand, what can I do? Well. You see, in the SPM examination, most of the words they use are rather simple. Okay. But I'll beat that if you don't understand the question. If that one word you think is hampering the understanding of the question, I would suggest you not to attempt that question. Don't take risk. That is my personal suggestion. Okay. Any other questions?
Any more questions?
No, Yes, I was giving some random examples.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to show you the essay that I wrote was based on a true story about the horror essay just now. The language may be a bit high lah. Let's see. Okay. Now, introduction samples. See, overview, the most important part of the essay represents the entire essay. Set the standard, interest is aroused here, must be creative and engaging. Now, I did explain this the other day. See, some types of introduction. Describe, okay, listen students, this is very important. I'm showing you some types of introduction. Describe the background to your story. Describe the background to your story. I hope you are following. These are some types of introduction. For example, you see, there's one example there. This sets things off in a straightforward manner, establishing clearly your characters and situation. Look at one example that I've given there. This is one brilliant example. There was once a poet who spent all his days shut up in his dark and shabby rented room on top of a coffin shop. This one sentence would probably give you at least 10 different details about the person or the story. Number one, it's about a person. Number two, he was a poet. Number three, it's a gentleman. Number four, he's not a very friendly guy. Number five, there was something eerie or spooky about him. Number six, the place that he says is dark and he preferred to live in the darkness. Number six, the place is not very clean. It is shabby. Number seven, he's not a very rich guy because he was just renting a room. He did not even own it. Number eight, he was renting on top of a coffin shop. So it was not a pleasant stay. It couldn't have been a very pleasant stay, but he enjoyed the stay there. He stayed there, and above the coffin shop. Okay, and number nine, he's in spite of being a poet who is very expressive, he didn't really have many friends to express. And number 10, beyond the idea of him being a poet, there is something dark about him. There is a secret that he's trying to hide. Do you see how many details I can get from this one sentence? This is how efficient your introduction must be. So we will have so many questions. Why? Why is he a poet? Why is he shutting up in his dark and shabby room? What happened to him? Why a coffin shop? Why could he not find a place elsewhere? Okay, so this is the describing the background of your story, and you set the tone. It's very grim, it's very dark, it's very mysterious. And then another type is describe the setting. Describe the setting will create the mood for your story. For example, towards 2 o'clock, the huge theater was thronged. Floor, gallery, boxes, and stage were all crowded. So many people were gathered in front of the box offices that the management had to telephone the police, fearing a riot. So this is another example of the introduction for the setting. Otherwise, use direct speech. This can be a lively way to begin, especially if your character says something that grabs the attention. For example, may God wipe out my family, my whole family, if I'm lying. This is supposed to be a loud statement, but she whispered. Such an oxymoron, huh? She's whispering it. Something so strong that she's saying, but she's whispering it. Raising hand in oath. And then use sounds. Use words which convey sounds is an easy way, okay? Or to start on a dramatic note. For example, plop. The lead at the end of the fishing line dropped into the sea. These are all different ways as to how you can attract or grab the attention of the examiner. Okay. Now, we'll go through some questions now. For narrative, can we straight write the scent, I suppose, scene, or have to give the background of the persona or describe the situation first? Okay, there is no persona. More so the background of the persona. Depending on what you want the examiners know or what you want the readers know, you direct and you guide the reader through what you wish to see, through what you wish to convince them to read. Okay, so that's that. Any other questions? Yeah.
One question from Facebook. Sir, is it really okay to write a story of horror or romance I'm asking because I was told that it is encouraged to do more of a coming of age or lesson learned type of story.
The extent of romance, to which extent would you write? You see, keep things decent now. You can write, of course. You can write. I mean, those who are marking your papers are far more mature than you are, isn't it? Due to the age, huh? I'm just talking about the age factor. So what I'm trying to say is, keep everything within the confinements of decency. If it is decent, yes, you can write. Okay? Or it is lesson driven, definitely can.
Lesson learned.
If it is, if you want to focus on lesson learned, yes, fine. Coming of age story requires long writing to put everything in it, says someone who seems to have a lot of experience. God bless you. Any other questions? If like 18 SG, like killing cannot lah. Are you 18? Oh yeah, you are 18 already, isn't it? Fair enough, huh? But no lah, cannot lah. Okay. Sir, if we put some idioms, can we get more marks, right? Sedihnya, janganlah terlalu fokus pada idiom. Idiom tu penting. It's just a part to make, idiom is to make your essay sound better. Idiom is to improve your essay. Idioms only if they are used aptly, it would beautify your essay. But there is no compulsion that you have to write idioms so that you get high marks. No, no such thing. No such thing.
They're trying to impress the reader, the peperiksaan,
Yeah, well,
the examiner.
see, at the end of the day, we are the so-called the examiners. We would be impressed with a good essay. We will never be impressed with a wrongly used idiom. We'll probably laugh at it if you want to be mean. Can.
Yeah, make sure you understand what you write.
Yeah, exactly my point. And make sure it suits the situation. There's someone who has written, sir, I wrote pornography word. What pornography word? The word pornography is fine. But someone said don't use. Sir, I wrote pornography word in argumentative essay. The essay entitled Disadvantage of Using Internet, but my teacher said better don't use, sir. I have to read your essay because I think I know the person who wrote this. Better don't use that word. Is that true, sir? The word pornography is fine by itself. But knowing you, I wouldn't know how you would have used it. So I wouldn't opine about it. Okay. So any other questions before we go into the example?
Maybe we can just proceed to the next slide.
Yes, I'm going to proceed. All right. Now, write a horror story that you will never forget. Begin your essay with the winds of summer blew forth. Now, I'm warning you, the language may be a bit difficult, but never mind. This is for those who aspire to get A+. This is for you. You can fetch a few words here. The winds of summer blew forth a blood-curdling secret from within them. A horror, very spiteful and malevolent, that has been in a limbo was up in the air. An irrevocable curse has sealed up the very village, which was once a land of lusciousness and prosperity. The grim remaining of what is left, however, has nothing to attest to the former glorious state of the ill-starred village. The last family has left, leaving the entire village to tarry in its desolation. What would turn such a propitious oasis into a deplorable wilderness? What abomination could be puissant enough to have driven the inhabitants of the village out of their homeland? The village remains stoic, with a grievous darkness wailing in its belly. When the time comes, it would regurgitate the horror. A lot of words, right? This is particularly to those who aspire to get A+. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So this is for those who aspire to get an A+. See, in this first paragraph, what has happened is I have spoken about the current state of the village, the comparison between how the village was versus how it is now, and why the situation has changed suddenly. Okay, just give me a second, 1 second. Okay, now let's look at the second paragraph. A decade ago, this village called Bharod was rather tranquil and unruffled. A fresh supply of clear flowing waterways and the boon they carried through their bodies, lush green vegetation, cattle and farms that were in abundance, and a very civilized bunch of villagers who coexisted quite harmoniously. These were the traits of the village. Being very remotely placed from towns or any whimsical that would come with them, these villagers did not have the need to break away from what they were doing and how they were living. They were very contented with what they were and what they had. Each family had their own fortunes to manage, and they had everything else in the village as common possessions, from the waterways to the temple they worship. Now, in this paragraph, I have focused on the glorious state of the village 10 years ago, a decade ago. How beautiful, how isolated, yet self-sufficient the village was. Okay, this is what I mean by sequence. Just now in the first paragraph, I started it with a note of mystery, where I compared something so beautiful, which has become something so devastating, something so deplorable. So in the second paragraph, I have spoken about how great, how glorious, how beautiful was the village. Okay, moving on to the third one. Third paragraph. However, let me bring this down. It's annoying thing. Okay, however, they had a secret that they would speak of. The villagers were guarding an ancient horror which they did not know of its nature or origin. For centuries, they had stayed away and stayed taciturn about it. Deep further, a couple of miles inside, there was a ruin of what may seem like a worship sanctuary. The villagers are forbidden from going anywhere near there, and they have spoken of the place as something that hides the dreadful mystery that is well beyond human apprehension. Although the villagers practiced deity worship, what was said to be lingering beneath the ruins of the ancient remnant was surely proscribed even to know, as it was said to be of such a disconsolate macabre. So here in this paragraph, I have spoken about the secret that they have been hiding. Okay, here just now, first paragraph, the mystery comparison. Second paragraph, the glorious state of the village. Third paragraph, the secret that they have been hiding. Fourth paragraph. On a fateful day, the village was visited by a conspicuously flamboyant couple. The villagers, who rarely get visitors, welcomed the couple with outstretched arms. The couple claimed themselves as traditional healers, and they were on a mission to seek herbs from the interiors of the forest. At the village, as the village did not have traditional medicine practitioners, they allowed the couple to stay with them. The pair was also such amazing sweet talkers that they could win the hearts of the villagers. Eventually, the village headman narrated the story of the occult mystery that was hidden deep in the forest. A spark of glistening gleam beamed in their eyes. They exchanged a menacing look between them. So here, this paragraph focuses on the coming of the couple, winning the heart of the villagers, and getting the secret. Now, continuing on the 5th paragraph, the couple was exceptionally quiet from that day onwards. They seemed to be focusing on what they claimed to have come for. The naive villagers too carried on with their chores, besides being the largely receptive host without any dubiety. The ancient ruins, which was a forbidden ground, was surely not the place the villagers would have anticipated for the couples to have ended up at. The truth was, the couple was a pair of necromancers. Necromancers are people who call forth the dead ones. Having heard the folklore of the forlorn evil entity that was concealed beneath the ancient ruins, these two tactfully sneaked past the village with the intention to conjure the evil entity of the past. It was passed on to them that anyone who would summon and conciliate the entity would be a master of invincible power. Now here, we are revealing the nature and the actual true colors of the couple. That is what we focus on this paragraph. Moving on to the next paragraph, the story would end. Blinded by avarice, the couple advanced to the prohibited ground and fervently looked for the ways to invoke the ancient spirit. There, beyond the shattered ruins, stood a statue of the deity which was shackled. The statue of the deity which was facet resembled the perfect embodiment of all evil assembled into it. A random human would go feeble on his feet just by beholding the sight of the deity. The couple, however, started their saltation around the statue, wailing and crying out loudly as though they had unlocked their mission. Right before the statue, there was a huge altar on which some dried old skull was seen. Drawing the machete beneath the altar, the man broke the chains that held the feet of the deity. It soon endured upon them that they must perform human sacrifice on the altar to call forth the spirit from its slumber. Realizing that the mission was so close at hand, they went into the village to lure a young maiden to be sacrificed on the altar. By then, the couple had already built a good rapport with the villagers. Now here, it speaks about what they are doing, their advanced moves to invoke the spirit, to conjure the spirit. Okay, and they successfully do it. The night that they planned came, years of their yearning were going to be fulfilled. Both the spouse was wearing garlands made of skulls, and there was blood everywhere of buffaloes, bulls, and goats. The young maiden that was lured to be sacrificed was also there, unconscious and thoroughly dipped in blood. The altar was set ablaze, the machetes were drawn, and the deity was splashed with the blood of the already slaughtered animals. Suddenly, the altar trembled tumultuously. The spouse that were dancing on a hysteric trance started cutting themselves. Blood gushed out of their bodies. The young girl who was meant for the sacrifice was nowhere to be seen. The couple fell dead on the ground, losing their lives due to excessive blood loss. A loud wail was heard across the village, sending a warning of the evil that has broken forth. So this paragraph talks about what happened during the ritual. And then for conclusion, a grim darkness swept over the plot of the village. The villagers started to feel the dreadful evil that they do not even dare to speak. it's finally out. They could see its evident presence everywhere. They could feel its evident presence everywhere. Green vegetation turns pale. The livestock started to die due to mysterious ailments. There was a heavy stench of blood in the air. At night, there were sightings of some sooty apparition, which literally stole the sleep of the villagers. People were drenching in fear and anxiety. They could all conclude that the village was not a habitable place anymore. The family of the missing girls committed suicide, and that brought the whole lot of them to the brink of breaking point to leave the village for good. What once seemed to be the most secure home became their most dreadful nightmare. Fully vacated, the village remains solemnly silent, inundated with the unspeakable horror, which could not wait to break forth yet again. Okay, the end. Now, in the end, here it talks about how the village is now at the present moment. What happened in the end, everyone leaving the story. See, the language may be hard, I admit, but what I'm trying to say is there is a flow of the sequence of event. This is what I mean by sequence. You can write it as simple as possible, and you can develop it to any extent. Okay, now this is the story. So until now, any question? What happened to her actually? I have not created. Medusa exists due to goddess Athena's jealousy. Now, why do we have Greek horror here? Okay. Can I write a horror story? But at last, it's only Panage Dada, Pembunuh bukan ghost. Yes, you can. No one stops your imagination as long as it is sensible. Okay, see, I'm going to stop this sharing of the screen. Now, I'm going to open this for questions because we have seen so many essays. I know some were easy, some were difficult, but it is time for you to throw in questions. And I want to answer your questions now. So is it okay for weak students to memorize essay? Absolutely no. Do not ever memorize essays. Memorize words, memorize phrases, and try to learn to use them aptly, but never ever memorize essays.
One question from Angelo Kimura. Can we make 5 sequence only for narrative?
We will have to have 7 paragraphs, isn't it? 5 is for PT3. Kita kan SPM dah.
So remember,
by the way, did you
7 sequence, okay?
7 is fair, just fair. Did you like the horror story though?
Everyone is talking about horror story.
Yeah, I know it would. See, this is what we mean by arousing the interest of the reader. So I liked writing like that. But some would have problem understanding. But I hope the language was okay lah, understandable. It wasn't Greek, it was just English.
How about revealing some shocking truth?
Oh yes, why not? And the truth is all in your imagination. How about criminal story? Write, by all means, write. It's story you can write. Other questions? You have a pretty 10 minutes to ask me questions. 7 sequence, same with 7 paragraphs. Yes, correct. How many maximum sentences in 1 paragraph, depending on how long your sentences are. If your sentences are short, you can have more sentences. If you're, like for example, there are some sentences in the essay, I wrote probably 40 words or 50 words in 1 sentence. Sir, can I make a 5 or 6 paragraph? Up to you. But my personal recommendation is 7.
7. They are so impressed with the AC just now.
Yang mana yang cerita hantu tu ke?
They even ask you to write a novel.
The kampung-kampung and
Oh, that's why, you know, I have always, I write a lot of poetries as well. I have written some poetries there on my Instagram, but I would really, if I have the time, I would write novel, but unfortunately, I have no time.
Mr. Thailand, do you have any Facebook, I'm sorry, YouTube channel?
Ada je.
YouTube
Oh,
channel,
no,
sorry.
YouTube channel, yes, that was for my lessons.
Yeah.
I was
Maybe they
once
want to
observed.
subscribe to your channel.
But I'm not teaching. Oh, I'm not teaching on the YouTube phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I wish I can. Honestly, all this I could do if I have time. Yeah. But yes. So, any other questions before I would pass on the session to siapa? Aiman dengan Intan.
But kita still have time, maybe a few minutes lagi. So please take this opportunity to ask questions. Okay, this is very last minute because you're going to jawab soalan next week now.
I will share the slides with Intan. So Intan, so Telegram, right?
Oh yeah, I'll share on Telegram.
Okay. In that Telegram, there are also details about novel, but just give me 2 minutes. I will share something about novel.
Yeah, someone requests something from about novel. Novel.
I'll just go through one very quickly. See, kids, I prepare all this for you, so don't worry. They're all for you. Okay. Novel. For novel, planning of the structure. In your answer for novel, you need to have all these 5 elements. The first one, you need to have a proper introduction, and then you need to address the task, and then you have body of content, and then development of ideas, and lastly, you need to have a reflective conclusion. Now, this table I have taught you, isn't it? I did teach you last time. CIVA table, where you have elements, okay, which are characters, I for incidents or events or scenes, V for value or theme, application, personal response will be A. First, you need to make sure the particular element is required or not, and then if it is required, how many of them, and then you develop the body of content. I'll show you an example. Okay. Let me show you an example.
Because some of them are first timer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So let's look at the example. This is the question. Heroes are made, not born. Based on the novel that we have studied, explain how far the statement is true. Heroes are made, not born. So it suggests that heroes are made. They're not born heroes. Now, we have to focus on this. Does the question require characters? Of course, you're going to talk about heroes. They must be of characters. So you, in this first column here, you tick yes. Does it require incidents? Of course, heroes are made. So there are incidents which made the heroes. So it is required. Moving on, values. Do you think values are needed? Yes. Without values, how would you prove them to be heroes? So values are required. Application. Does the question ask you to relate how the values could be related to your own self? No. Based on the novel, you just need to state how far the statement is true as to whether heroes are made and not born. So there is no personal application. So if we have the characters, how many characters? One character, because we are going to focus on how heroes are made. So one hero. Incidents, 3 incidents, which proves them, prove to the examiner that through these incidents, a hero is born. And then we move on to the next step where we show values, because through these incidents, we see values which made them heroes. So body of content, Newton Newman is the character. Okay, this is from the novel Captain Nobody. I could only share one example now. Okay, incident number 1, getting the drum from the dumpster. So the value that is shown is courage. Incident number 2, foiling a robbery at the Sullivan's jewelry. The value shown is selflessness. Incident number 3 is
the slide, Siva, CIVA slide.
You mean you want to see that?
Yeah.
You are not seeing what I'm presenting.
Just now we saw, but it's actually stopped. The CIVA, right? The one CIVA.
No. I'm showing this now.
Okay.
Do you see that?
Yes, you can see,
Okay.
right? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So, and the last one here is walking Mr. Clay back home. So the value is care and concern. All right. Now let's see a sample answer. Huh? I will send this to you as well, Intan.
Thank you. Sure. Thank you.
Sample answer. See, the novel that I've studied is Captain Nobody by Dean Pitchford. That's the introduction of the task. This novel revolves around a 10-year-old boy called Newton Newman. This boy is timid and often overshadowed by his famous brother, who is the star quarterback of Fillmore High School. On an unfortunate event, Chris, the brother, suffered an injury which drove him to coma. After that, Newton Newman embraced a new alter ego and mustered up to become Captain Nobody, who performed many heroic acts. The story revolves with Chris getting up from coma and Newton being celebrated alongside his brother, who both joined the annual parade of Appleton with the mayor. So this is a brief synopsis of the novel. Now moving on, addressing the task. From the novel, the statement heroes are made, not born, comes through the character of Newt. In the beginning of the novel, Newton Newman was seen to be a very timid person. He had low self-esteem and often overshadowed by his brother. His brother Chris is the direct opposite of Newton Newman. However, when the time came for Newton Newman, he began to shine as a hero, performing various heroic acts. From the novel, there are a few incidents from which Newton Newman elevates himself as a hero. So this is addressing the task. Okay, moving on. Firstly, this is content pointer, body of content. Firstly, Newton Newman helps Cecil to retrieve a drum from the dumpster. That's the incident, the first incident. In the novel, Newt is known as someone who has the fear of heights or acrophobia. Albeit his fear, when Cecil called him up, he went with courage and attempted to face his fear. Although he was reluctant at first, he realized that it was his opportunity to both shine as a hero as well as to help his friend. He braved himself and went on to get the drum from the dumpster for Cecil. So this is contextual evidence. Through this act, he fought his own fear and emerged as hero. That's the value. From this incident, it is clear that heroes are made and not born. Okay, so you reiterate the idea. Same thing goes, second content point. Okay, and then the third content point, third incident. So you be able to read it by yourself. I'll move on to the conclusion. To conclude, one does not become a hero when he was born. Reflective conclusion. One has to go through various phases in life, which would take him through circumstances, which would lead him to make some decisions. Through the decisions and the outcomes of the decisions, one becomes hero or otherwise. He was not born a hero. In fact, he was born otherwise. Timid and slightly reclusive, however, when the situation comes, he takes it on and made himself a revered hero who was eventually celebrated in the Appleton. So that is the conclusion, which is reflective. You develop an answer like this, you are eligible to get a full mark. Are you clear?
Are you clear? Are you still here?
All right.
Very clear.
So that is pretty much it. You see, there's so many things. I try to put it all into these 2 hours. So I hope you're benefited. I've shared much of the knowledge, and I'm going to share the slides with these people. And yes.
So maybe you could explain again on the SIVA part.
Oh, it's just a table. I did show the table, right? If you were to look at the table with the question, eventually you would understand. You need to look at the table, which is in the slide. I have explained it, and then you compare that table to answering the question, which I have also given. So you can use that, and you would be able to draw an overall image of how the table can be applied. Okay.
So
well, you have less than a week, isn't it? Yeah.
C for character, incident.
P for character,
value,
I for incident, value, application.
Application.
Application. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we need to identify number of characters, number of incidents. What are the values?
Very good. Yes. Exactly. And
macam
if it is singular, number of characters semua tu kan. If it is singular, 1. If it is plural, 3.
Okay. So korang clear tak? Nampak macam Miss Intan yang nak sit for exam ni. Sebab I already take note tau. Mr. Thailand punya notes I yang respon banyak ni.
Miss, rasanya diorang ni boleh tengok kita punya first class dengan Miss dengan Sir Thailand.
Ada dekat Facebook.
So for those of you who had missed macam the first class we had with Mr. Thailand, boleh check balik dekat our Facebook. Boleh go through our recorded tape.
Sir, can this question say that brave attitude? Yes, brave attitude is courage. Courage, brave. Yeah, they're all pretty much the same.
So that's the value.
Value. Bravery is a value.
Is there any conclusion for novel?
Yeah, there is a reflective conclusion which I have shared. You can refer to that. It always ends with a word of hope, and it's reflective. Sir, what tense are you going to use if the question is describe how? Oh, it's future tense, isn't it? Or present tense? Be decisive and stick to one tense, please. Don't jump tense. Okay, you can't go back to the past and you can't delve into the future. You know.
Back to the future. In novel, must use past tense, right?
Yes, correct. Because it's something that has already happened
in the past event. Okay.
Salsabila, you have a question, can study? Can you post your question again? There's one question from Salsabila.
Which one?
Post the question again, Salsabila. Okay, wait.
Wow.
Wait. Should we reflect the value on us at the end of each paragraph?
That's optional. You can, and you can choose not to. But you can do that in the conclusion. That would be nice. So if you are giving opinion or point of information, or point of values, or point of view in novel, we have to use present tense. Is it? Yes. Yes, dear. Yes, you have to use present tense.
So if you want to be a better writer, you have to read more. Okay.
Definitely. You'll see my house has easily 5,000 books.
Wow. If I write 5 to 7 lines for one paragraph in my essay, so is it okay?
How many words are those? Keep it to 100 words per paragraph, 7 paragraphs, 700 words.
So 100 words for each paragraph.
Yeah, 70 to 100 words per paragraph.
Depends on your handwriting as well.
Fair enough, yes. English words are not generally short.
So body content?
Oh, yes. If you're talking about novel, there's no confinement. You don't put all 3 points in one paragraph. I mean, after all, papers are free, right? You can write as long as you want. Be very elaborative. Use contextual evidence from the text, but make sure those evidence are real. Otherwise, it'll be factual error, FE.
Can we
I
write
think-
novel?
Well,
If you have the time.
yeah,
Kalau
if
masa
you're
cukup
present
tulis
with a
lah.
good writer. Oh, you can't write novel in one. Oh, that means, can you write novel question in one paragraph? Better not. Better not. Write it in paragraphs. Okay. Intan, we are well past the time. Is it okay? We have exceeded the 2 hours.
Maybe one last question before we wrap up. Okay.
Any more questions?
So I
At
think
least
that's
4
about
answer.
it.
Yeah. All right.
So everyone dah clear? Ada better understanding and how to write essay, how to write good essay. Okay? How to write better essay, better than before. Yes, thanks to Mr. Thailand. I think it's a good, approach when you give some samples of the essay so they can see, what is the right method to do it, what is the framework, CVAR, mere point, things like that. So
At least they got the rough idea lah on what they are going to write.
I also
Intan seems to
macam,
remember so much. I'm impressed with you, Intan. You seem to remember. I think you should sit for SPM. Again.
because I like writing actually.
Looks like you are more eligible to sit for SPM.
Oh, okay. Confirm A+.
Oh,
Miss Intan ambil confirm A+. Because the session is interesting. So I pun learn something. Because writing is for everyone, kan? You can write anything. Because I also have my blog, kan?
Wow, good. I wish I had the time for all that. And my another problem is I'm an IT retard.
Really?
Yes.
Masih like that lah.
We can always learn. Maybe you can install also TikTok, Okay,
Top level.
sir. All right. So, habis semua okay? Sir, any tips for summary and comprehension?
Okay, tips for summary and reading comprehension. Be very careful to only take the right answer. Do not overlift. Do not take the whole chunk and lift, number one. Number two, please be mindful to change the pronoun if the question requires you to change the pronoun. For example, if the text is written from the first person's point of view, but you wish the question asks the writer, you need to change it from I, me, myself to the writer, him or her. Okay? Otherwise, you would lose your marks. So these are my advice.
Maybe any, ucapan, well wishes to all our students.
Oh yes, well wishes always. I wish you all the best. I know you are a very deprived batch in the sense that your exam has been postponed for so many, so many months. But whatever it is, what come may, you are facing it already very, very soon. So do your best. Okay, I would not say do the best because no one is better than the other. Okay, everyone is unique, everyone is good in their own way, but what I would suggest is be the best version of yourselves in every instance, and most importantly now, do your best in English. Okay.
Yep.
Do your best in English. I wish you all the best. All right. Okay, that is all I think. Okay, I think that's about it. my closure speech.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Thailand. Sebab sudi join for second
No
time with
problem,
us
no
with TAJ
problem,
International
no problem.
College. All right, so Aiman, anything tomorrow? Tomorrow kita ada start
Yes,
tomorrow.
we would like to remind them about our tomorrow session. Wait, let me share my screen. So, okay, for tomorrow, esoklah kita ada sesi Bahasa Melayu bersama Cikgu Hairi Abdullah kita. So, boleh jumpa kita pada waktu yang sama. Kita akan bermula jam 8.30. Tapi macam biasa, kita akan buka Zoom link awal untuk kita macam borak-borak dulu. Macam biasa. Okay. See you guys tomorrow.
Okay, kita ambil group selfie before kita end the session.
Boleh. Okay, yep.
Just
Alright.
okay. Mr. Thailand,
Hey,
last
this
time
time, don't miss me.
last time I tak sempat nak selfie dengan you lah, Mr. Thailand. Last time I busy, so hari ni I free sikit, so kita boleh ambil selfie.
Virtual selfie,
Okay. Guys,
Okay.
could open your camera.
Please turn on
Just for
the
a while.
camera, turn on the video.
Betul masuk TV lagi?
Mr. Thailand, kita masuk TV 3 tau last time.
I tak tahu, hari esoknya baru I tahu.
Your students inform you ke?
You told me the next day.
Oh,
but you
I
send
thought
me
your
the video.
students.
Okay. Kau boleh masuk TV 1 pula lepas ni ke? Masuk Astro ke?
Okay, jom. Ready, everyone? Okay, ready, 1, 2. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Thailand, for your sharing, for the tips, and for the well wishes. We hope to see you again, maybe. In the future, we can collaborate some more
Definitely, no problem.
for the next project. Okay,
Sure.
so for everyone, have a good rest. Esok kita ada slot Bahasa Melayu bersama Cikgu Hairi. And I wish you all the best. Okay?
Okay,
Teruskan
good
usaha,
night.
terus belajar. And TIC always be with you. Okay, bye.
Good night.